Thank you so much for hearing our story. I'm the birth mother to Eli Watson, born December 15th, 2016. That day, a red-headed light came piercing in and showed me places in my heart that I never knew existed. You've heard Sarah's side of our story. I just want you to know some of the circumstances that have led us to be standing here today and complement that story with my own perspective. I really struggled with what to share with you guys today. If you can imagine me yesterday with a baby strapped to my body, pushing a vacuum around in front of me, screaming Old MacDonald had a farm as loud as I could to a teething vaccinated child, that was me coming up with this. So I apologize if this is a little discombobulated. I am a trauma nurse at Rhode Island Hospital. I work in the ICU. If your elderly one gets in an accident or falls off a ladder, they come to my floor. If there is gang violence, gunshot wounds, knife wounds, they come to us. Convicted felons that have experienced violence while incarcerated come to us. We see it all. They roll into our unit, bleeding everywhere, each with their own crazy story. We respect and treat those patients the same. A professional healthcare setting demands equal care regardless of a person's stats. There is no question. We give them the same level of care regardless of their lifestyle choices. I don't treat one patient any better or worse than another. I might not agree with everyone's lifestyle, but that's not the point, is it? I don't have to agree with how you're choosing to live to understand that it's only common sense to treat people with equal rights. I'm not going to delay treatment for a patient because I disagree with their life choices, because that's wrong. No, I'm going to give that person the same level of dignity and offer the same level of care and opportunity as every other patient on our unit. This just makes common sense, everything I'm saying. So why is it when it's time for me to be the patient, to deliver my own baby, I walk into a hospital, a healthcare setting, and I'm treated differently? A woman is empowered until she is not, and that is wrong. Yes, LGBT rights have come a long way. No one is denying that. But if you think we've arrived at equal rights, then you're really not listening. I could pick a random guy off the street, tell the hospital staff that he's the father, and assuming he agrees, his name would be on the birth certificate, just because I said so. But my partner, who has been there from the beginning, who I've known since I was 17 years old, more than half of my life, to whom I am not married but have this amazing child with, is not allowed to be on the birth certificate, and this is also obviously wrong. I know there is some concern about genealogy. We actually spent years trying to have a child. I was diagnosed with infertility, and it was actually a huge blow. I birthed Eli. No one questioned I'm his mother. But guess what? If you check his DNA, he is actually biologically Sarah's child. No part of this child's DNA matches my own. We are in a day and age when DNA is extremely different and a distraction from the intent to parent. And our laws need to reflect that. Reproductive technologies have made leaps and bounds, carving the way for so many different types of couples to become family units. After Eli's birth, before we left the hospital, we were asked to fill out his birth certificate paper, and in doing this, I realized for the first time that the laws on parenthood have not kept pace with the laws of marriage. Sarah was this baby's mom from the beginning, but none of the paperwork acknowledged her existence. Her own biological kid. Sarah is not allowed to be named on my son's birth certificate. What we're told is that this is because we're not married. There is this form called the Voluntary Acknowledgement of Paternity, which straight unmarried couples are able to use in the hospital after babies are born. This form allows the mother and father to state that they are the parents of the child so that the father can have his name on the child's birth certificate without having to prove parenthood in any other way. We had to adopt. It was our only option in order to get Sarah's name on that birth certificate of her own biological child. What came next was a home study, probing interviews, a woman in our home asking questions like, what instrument did your little brother play when he was growing up? Home inspections, fire inspections, where is your boiler switch on the stairs, in order to allow Sarah to legally be Eli's mother. Fingerprints, backgrounds, we've paid for it all. As part of the adoption process, we were required by family court to place an advertisement specifically seeking the, quote, father, of our child, despite the donor already voluntarily giving up his rights to any potential offspring when he signed that contract in donating originally. On August 1st, since we've stood before you, we've since stood before the family court. And this was the hardest part, and this is the part that I really hope you hear. For me personally, we had to place that ad in the paper, seeking the father of our donated sperm. I hope you're all following me. I know this is confusing. I'm the birth mother. Sarah is the biological mother. We had donor sperm. Everyone with me? Okay. So we placed an ad because we were required to, and for the sake of time, I won't get into everything. But on the family court, on August 1st, we stood there. The officer stepped out into the hallway and called for anyone responding to our ad, anyone claiming to be Eli's father. Do you hear what I'm saying? We waited 2 long, degrading minutes. It might as well have been forever. We didn't know who saw the ad, who could walk through the door. It was posted to the public. Literally anyone could have walked in and claimed his parental right to our child. So there we were in silence holding our child. Uncertainty of who would lay claim, and I have never known a fear like that. I consider us lucky. No one showed up in response to that ad. Our adoption went through that day, and I don't need to worry if something happens to me. Who will have Eli? He legally has 2 moms, and now his birth certificate shows that. Had I known how horribly stressful and costly it would have been to be an unmarried gay couple in Rhode Island with a kid dealing with all this during the most important bonding time with a newborn, I absolutely would have been married to my partner just to avoid any risk to my son. Rhode Island laws do not reflect current times. They are outdated, and this will continue to be an issue unless we make some changes. Family units today are more diverse than they've ever been. Reproductive technologies have outpaced our laws and vocabulary. The underlying goals have always been the same. We just want to be a family. A boring, safe family with the same rights as everyone else. I don't think we're asking for too much. I want the same security provided to other parents, seeing that the other parent's name is on that birth certificate. We went through months of uncertainty because my partner's name was not allowed to be on the birth certificate. As a trauma nurse, I was paranoid about getting into accidents. It's a big deal. To have one standard for parenthood applied to straight unmarried couples and have another standard for parenthood applied to gay unmarried couples is upsetting and discriminatory. And everything trickles down from this one document. Even the Social Security card is made up only after the birth certificate is generated. It's a very big deal to not allow same-sex couples to both be on that birth certificate, and it's high time for change. Unmarried same-sex couples need to be acknowledged as legitimate parents to their children right from the beginning. Giving these couples no choice but to go through the adoption process, as we were required to do, only puts these new and precious children at unnecessary risk. I'm so grateful for everything you guys are doing for our cause, and thank you for listening to my story.